Today on MuscleCar, we drop the heart into Altered Ego and add more custom touches with a set of race pedals and old school gauges. Plus, how two brothers revived this numbers matching barn find.
Hey, welcome to MuscleCar. The body work on our AFX car, Altered Ego, is all done. Today we're going to take care of a few final details like the gauges, clutch, and pedal assembly, and then slide in the power plant.
This entire project has been about building a drag car the old-fashioned way, obviously with one exception. We're going to be using a Ford fuel-injected 4.6 mod motor. This thing put down almost 500 horse on our dyno, but to hold on to that old-school vibe, these stacks are going to have to head north, all the way through the hood.
When it comes to underappreciated components, one of the most overlooked and important parts of your setup are the foot controls. Your life literally lays in their engineering and installation. This Tilton racing style pedal assembly has a built-in mounting bracket for the master cylinders. We also picked up a universal floor mount gas pedal. This entire setup came from Summit. Once mounted, we'll be able to control our horsepower and our stopping power. Our two-pedal setup uses 3 master cylinders, 1 for the clutch and 2 for the brake. Since they're all the same size, I'm only putting 1 in place for mock-up. This assembly doesn't come with mounts, so it's time to come up with a game plan. I fabbed up some mounting tabs using some 1/8" plate. The one on the driver's side is going to be made from 2 pieces, since my brake isn't strong enough to bend this heavy steel. Our sheet metal brake, like most auto shop brakes, is designed to bend up to 16 gauge, so any thicker has to be done in 2 pieces and welded together. The pedal assembly needs to be mounted directly to the roll cage so it can be as solid as possible. I'm welding the left side bracket directly to the cage, but the right requires an extra piece of DOM tubing. All of these mounts will be welded solid, but the pedal assembly will be bolted to these brackets so it can be removed for maintenance. All right, the mount is solid and there's no interference. I could go ahead and mount the reservoirs and master cylinders, but there's really no need until you're ready to bleed the brakes. So I'll leave them out and give us some extra room when we're mounting the gauges. As for the clutch, well, we need a transmission. So I'm done for now.
Hey man, I got this gas pedal ready to go in. You want to take a break?
Shoot, yeah, by all means, I'm out.
Right on. The nice thing about universal parts like this pedal is you can mount it however you want. For comfort, we're putting ours at an angle so we can mash it to the floor easier. I pre-built a mounting pad that'll be welded to the floor. The pedal will bolt to the plate and can be easily removed. For now, I'm just mocking up the pedal. When we put it in for real, I'll use lock nuts so it doesn't go anywhere. Cool. Now, while most modern engines use a computer-controlled drive-by-wire accelerator, the fuel injection that's been installed on our 4.6 uses a traditional cable-type accelerator. Now, once we get the engine installed, we can measure it out for the cable.
Hold it.
After the break, looks like we're gonna need a shoehorn. And later, a rare GTX that's grabbing a lot of attention.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's finally time to drop the heart into our wheel-standing beast. We chose this modern Ford 4.6 because it can pack a lot of power in a lightweight package, but still can be built to have that retro look we're after.
Now, these motors are capable of up to 2,000 horsepower, but Altered Ego is built to reflect a time when numbers like that were almost unheard of, so we kept ours at just under 500. Anything more than that would require a stronger, more modern chassis, and that just wouldn't work with our nostalgic theme. This is the first time we've tried to drop the real engine and transmission into this car, and let me tell you, faux mock-ups are a lot lighter and easier to handle. Okay, we're gonna have to go kind of in and up, or in and down. Okay, swing it back.
Hold it, hold it.
Hey Tom, tell you what, let's just cut this out, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
It'll save us a lot of hassle.
Yeah, they used to do that to them Tri-5 Chevys all the time.
Yep, exactly. Here's your rache. From the factory, the core support was a structural part of the car, but our Comet is a long way from the factory, and all of our bracing more than makes up for what I'm cutting out. Just when you thought we were done chopping this thing up.
Can we come on down with it?
Okay, pull it right there.
It'd probably go right there. Sure. With the motor mounts lined up, the transmission mount should drop right in.
Our hand-fabbed headers look better than ever with their nitro plate coating. The piece I cut out earlier will be easier to remove next time. I attached mounting tabs on the centerpiece and welded nuts to the back side of the core support, so the whole thing unbolts with 4 Allens.
We knew our stacks would be too short, and now's a good time to see how much more height we're going to need. Careful, don't scratch the paint job. Yeah, these things are lacking a little bit in the length side. Say probably about right there.
Yeah, Wayne with Very Cool Parts, he built these originally. So if we get a hold of him, I'm sure he'd hook us up with another set.
Cool, I'll give him a buzz, see what he can do, and I'll go ahead and get these off.
All right, cool. I'll get the exhaust put on and get started on the dash.
Sounds good.
Now, you guys have seen nitro plate ceramic coating on a lot of parts that we've used around here, including the headers that we just bolted onto Altered Ego. But this is the first time we've ever used their black coating. It's tough, resists rust, increases airflow, and reduces radiant heat, just like their aluminized coating. Main difference is, this is a lot more subtle. One reason you may choose the black over the aluminum is the black is rated at 1700 degrees, where the aluminum is rated at 1300. Now this makes it ideal for turbo and supercharged applications. We chose it because we just think it looks cool. Altered Ego's chassis is just about done. And man, she's looking good.
Coming up, a Canadian Plymouth packing real American muscle. And later, why 9 inches is better than 4. Today's Flashback, a 1971 Plymouth GTX 440.
You've all heard of great barn finds. Well, the Schroeder brothers found this 71 GTX in their own barn. It all started when Lars and Tor bought it in the 80s, when they were just a couple of wide-eyed teenagers.
We were doing some detail work, finally put the engine in the car and cranked it over, and didn't realize that, was it the lifters?
We got a solid lift cam and we'd put hydraulic lifters in, so we bent some push rods right away.
Frustrated, they left it in their dad's barn, where it sat for 20 years. In 2007, they finally decided it was time to finish the job.
It's a good thing they did. This numbers-matching car is one of just 135 made that year, and one of the few built in Windsor, Ontario. In case you couldn't tell, yeah, Lars and Tor are Canadians.
Hey, you hosers, check this out, eh?
The 440 is packing 6 barrels of firepower under the hood. Capable of pounding out 385 horsepower, it added 15 horses to the standard 440. Now once again, the Hemi option was available at a whopping price tag of $750. The lighter weight and price of the 446 barrel made it a very desirable choice.
71 brought a whole new level of styling to Plymouth's midsize satellite, which the GTX was built on. A fuselage look transformed the car into a streamlined piece of muscle, with a horse collar front bumper, sculpted body panels, and a sloping fastback roof.
Painted in the 1-year-only color Curious Yellow, this car's like a highlighter rolling on 4 wheels. Now inside, it's got the tough steering wheel, which had a smaller diameter and thicker grip for race-like handling.
Heavy-duty suspension was standard, all rolling on 6-inch steel wheels with wide oval rubber. It's wearing a set of modern redline radials, because it likes to be driven.
Introduced in '67 as Plymouth's first all-in-one muscle car package, the GTX soon played second fiddle to its sister car, the Roadrunner. It was essentially just a spruced-up version of the Mimi car, with deluxe interior, chrome rocker moldings, and a 440 as the base engine.
With no cool cartoon mascot and a higher price tag, it's no wonder the GTX was often overlooked. Sales hit an all-time low of 2,942 in '71. This marked the last year for the GTX as its own model, but the name lived on as an option on the Roadrunner.
When Lars and Tor restored the car, they weren't expecting a whole lot of attention, but they sure got it. The car was invited out to the SEMA show in Vegas as a prime example of Mopar performance.
So what kind of advice do a couple of Canadians have for American muscle car fans?
Did you ever use snow tires when you try to do a burnout?
Up next, Rick shows you how to make your own custom gauge cluster. You're watching MuscleCar. For a DVD copy of this episode, just go to PowerBlockTV.com and order your copy for just $5.95 plus shipping and handling. Start your own MuscleCar collection, delivered right to your door from the PowerBlock.
Hey guys, welcome back to MuscleCar. In 1964, a lot of cars, like ours, came straight from the factory with a full set of gauges. Now, they may have looked cool, but they weren't always accurate. Well, technology has come a long way since the 60s, and nowadays, thanks to companies like Stewart Warner, you can get a classic-looking gauge with modern internals. The first thing I need to do is make sure the gauges are actually going to fit. Well, looks like we're in luck, so I'll start transferring my measurements to a template. I want to make this as wide as I can. Our gauges are about 3.5 inches. So it's going to be a fairly tight fit in here anyway. So if I can get the back part of this about 4 1/4, that'll give us about 3/4 of an inch, which is 3/8 of an inch on top and bottom to the bezel. So that'll give us enough room. 4 1/4. And that will give us the flat piece for the gauges to actually set into. Using a sheet metal brick on cardboard may seem like overkill, but it gives the precise bends I need for an accurate template. The closer the mock-up piece is, the better the final piece will fit. From here, it's a lot of trimming and fitting. Make small changes until it drops into place. Then you're ready to transfer the template onto some steel. I'm using 18 gauge. It's easy to hand trim, and there's really no reason to use anything thicker for a non-structural part. A brake can't bend opposing angles, so I split the design into 3 pieces that'll be welded together after the bends are made. Just take this a little bit at a time. Now, just like I did with the cardboard, I'll make small changes and test fit as I go. And I want to build something to fill in these edges. I could tack weld this from the back side and keep the front clean, but I think the welds match the raw, hand-built look of the car, so I'm leaving them. After making sure it all fits, I can trim the edges and mount the gauges. To make sure the gauges are spaced properly and level, I'll mark the center line of the panel and use that as a guide. From there, I can set them in place and find an arrangement that not only looks good, but will allow the mounting brackets to clear one another on the back. Now, once I have a layout that works, I'll mark the positions and start cutting some holes. I have a hole saw the correct size for the small ones, so these are easy. The big ones, that's another story. To cut them out, I'll start by drilling a pilot hole, then finish the job with an air saw. Time to see what all my hard work has brought me. Yeah, now that looks nice. I'm not going to clamp it all in place yet because I still have to paint the panel. But once we get the harnesses installed for the body and the engine, then we can use the wiring and the sending units for the gauges, get everything hooked up and finish out the install. So for now, we're done.
Earlier in the show, we talked about swapping out our velocity stacks for some taller ones that would stick through the hood. They not only look better, they'll increase low-end torque. And since it's got the same flange as the other, we can go ahead and bolt them on, see how they'll look. These 9-inchers came from the same guys who made the 4-inchers, verycoolparts.com. They specialize in fuel injection stacks and intakes for just about any setup.
About got it?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Let's see how this dude looks.
And I think it's gonna be a little tight, but I think it'll work, especially since we're gonna use pins instead of the hinges.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking hinges. There it is. Oh, dude, that looks sick right there.
Oh yeah.
The exhaust, the stance, the big and littles on the Hallett brands, the in-your-face roll cage. Dude, this thing screams AFX.
Yeah, but man, it's far from done.
Yeah, I think what it needs now is a little blue candy over some flake and maybe some white pearl. That'd look nice. But you know what? For this week, we're out of time. So until next time, we're out of here.